All right, let's talk about something that, let's be honest, drives almost every company crazy: data chaos. But more importantly, we're going to talk about the solution and how you can become the conductor of your very own data symphony. So let's raise the baton and get started.
It's that feeling, right? You've got stakeholders making big decisions based on data that's hours, maybe even days out of date. And then you have your on-call engineers, bless their hearts, chasing down failed jobs at 4 in the morning. This is the painful reality when data pipelines break down. It's a huge sign that something is seriously out of tune.
And look, this isn't some rare exotic problem. The reality is, as our data grows, as we add more and more tools to the mix, keeping everything running smoothly actually gets harder, not easier. So let's take a look at why this chaos happens in the first place.
I mean, just look at this. This slide really nails the problem. Your data is everywhere. It's not in one nice, neat box. It's scattered across warehouses, data lakes, streaming services, you name it. On top of that, you have dozens of SaaS tools, each one creating its own little stream of noise. Trying to manage all of that by hand, it's like trying to get an orchestra to play in harmony without a conductor. The result is just a mess.
So, that's the big question, isn't it? How in the world do you take all of that clashing, chaotic noise and turn it into something valuable, something that actually sounds like a beautiful symphony? Well, the answer is you bring in a conductor. And no, I'm not talking about a person in a tuxedo. I'm talking about a process, a whole mindset really, and a set of tools that we call data orchestration. This is the thing that brings harmony to all of your data pipelines. Okay, so data orchestration sounds a bit fancy, but what does it actually mean? Let's unpack it. At its core, it's the process of taking all those individual automated tasks, pulling data from here, transforming it over there, and coordinating them into one seamless end-to-end workflow. It's about managing the whole shebang. This right here, this is probably the best way to think about it. Simple automation, that's like one musician playing their instrument. Super useful, for sure, but they're just focused on their own part. Orchestration, though, that's the conductor. The conductor sees the entire musical score. They know how all the pieces fit together, managing all the dependencies, the retries, the alerts, everything. All right, so we get it. We need a conductor. But what are they actually doing? What does their sheet music look like? Let's dive into the mechanics of how this all actually works under the hood. You can really think of the whole performance like a symphony in 3 movements. First up, you organize. That's where you gather up all your data from all those different sources. Second, you transform it. You clean it, you process it, you get it into a consistent format that's actually usable. And finally, the grand finale, you activate it. You deliver that pristine data to your analytics tools, your dashboards, so people can get real insights. But, an orchestra doesn't just start playing randomly. The conductor is waiting for a cue. In the data world, we call these triggers. Sometimes it's based on a schedule, like run this report every hour. Other times it's event-based, so a workflow kicks off the second a new file shows up. And sometimes it's started by another system or even a person giving it the green light. Now, to make sure the performance goes off without a hitch, these platforms have some really clever safety nets built right in. Things like idempotency. Fancy word, simple idea. It just means if a task fails and you retry it, it won't create a duplicate mess, like charging a customer twice. Or data contracts, which are like a bouncer at a club, checking the data's ID to make sure it's valid before it gets in. These are the kinds of things that prevent those 4 a.m. wake-up calls. So, you've done all this hard work. You've organized the data, transformed it, built in all these safety nets. What's the payoff? What does a perfect performance actually sound like for a business? Let's get into the good stuff. First off, you get insights way, way faster. Your analysts and business users aren't stuck waiting around for an engineer to pull data for them. It's just there, ready to go. Next up, those pesky data silos? Gone. Or at least they're not a barrier anymore. You get this amazing, unified view of everything that's happening across the business without having to do a massive, painful data migration. And this is a big one. Compliance and governance get so much easier. When you have one central place managing the flow of data, tracking things for an audit or handling a privacy request is suddenly not a massive headache. And finally, and this is huge, you're setting your company up to scale. As your data grows, and trust me, it will, your system can actually handle it. It's the difference between a 4-person string quartet and a full 100-piece orchestra. It's just built for it. Okay, so you're on board. You're ready to pick up the baton. So what's the playbook? Let's go over some of the key practices that every great data conductor needs to know to really master this.
A few key things to remember. First, think about scale from day one. Build things in a modular way so you can reuse them. Next, you gotta have visibility. Dashboards, graphs, you need to see what's going on. Third, bake quality checks right into the process. Don't just tack them on at the end. Also, be smart about cost. Use those event-driven triggers so you're not paying for computers to just sit around doing nothing. And finally, be smart about what you automate. Automate the repetitive stuff, but keep a human in the loop for the really tricky exceptions.
So when it comes right down to it, this is the question you have to ask yourself. Is your data just a bunch of chaotic noise, or is it a beautiful symphony just waiting for you to be its conductor? The choice really is yours.